Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amateur Talk. My name is Troy,
I'm Stephany.
and today's topic is going to be parental discipline. How's your day?
Everything is well. Can't
That's
complain.
good. That's
How's
good.
your day?
Can't complain. Also, it was
We're
rough.
looking mighty bright today, aren't we?
Yeah. I can't
The
help
coordination
that.
is real.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So, why don't you let the people know what you do?
Well, I am a case planner. I work with children and the youth that have behavior problems or cognitive behaviors as well as truancy. And I kind of just deal with them by counseling and kind of encouraging good behavior and providing them resources that they might need, right? So that's pretty much what I entail in my job. I also am a mother of a teen, and pretty much our topic is going to be about parental
Discipline. So, I'm a boy dad, and you're a girl mom.
girl mom.
Okay, so it's definitely going to be interesting how we discipline our children coming from two different genders. So why don't you tell us your disciplinary style? Like, her daughter's name is Amber, and she's definitely grown up to be quite the young lady. I mean, she has like 1,700 mirrors. But yeah, like
She
let's
loves
say,
her. I'm all about self-love, guys. Okay.
yeah. She
I
got
think
that.
it has to start with self-love.
That's a fact.
And I feel like you have to give your children that.
That's
Because
true.
if you don't give them self-love, they don't have self-worth, right? And when they grow up without those little small things like validating them, they forget to fight and fence for themselves. And I think that's how you create higher self-esteem, and it makes them confident out in the world to battle whatever they have to face, right? Especially
Boys is different. You just gotta tell them to knuckle up, and they go outside and they do their thing. But that's neither here nor there.
I feel like that's like how the world wants people to view kids. I don't really think it has a gender, and I think that's where me and you kind of differ, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because I work with boys and girls, and I still use the same type of method. I mean, granted, you are the father, so you have to be more of the disciplinary. So I can understand how it varies,
Right.
but I feel like that's why it's important. Or maybe that's why usually it's two parents in a household, because we kind of balance each other out, and I think that's with us as well.
Absolutely.
Right? You're a little bit more strict. I'm a little bit more lenient, but I am strict too.
We'll get into that because you'll definitely see. So let's say, for instance, Amber's at school and teacher said, "Hi, Miss Santiago. Just calling to let you know something surprising happened today. We caught Amber cheating on her math test. I had to disqualify her from this Regents, and she'll have to go to summer school to make up this test. What would be your course of action with regards to that?"
Well, first, I probably would start off with apologizing to the teacher, because obviously kids are a reflection of us. Nevertheless, her actions are pure her actions, and I'm aware of that. So I would inform the teacher that I'll definitely have a conversation with her and see what we can do moving forward. Maybe we can have a meeting to school where we can all sit down, me, the teacher, and Amber, because I think about the children should have not children, people in general should have accountability, right, for your actions. And I tell my child, and I tell my children that I work with, everything has a cause and effect. So I will definitely have that conversation with her and as a group, so that she knows that we're being supported all the way around. It's just not one person effort, it's a team effort, and in order for her to excel, she must try her best to do her best.
That's facts. For me, if a teacher called TJ was cheating, I would have been like, "Well, I'm sorry, sir. I knew he didn't study last night, so I mean, he tried." But no, but
You definitely would do
yeah,
that, and then probably like give him a slap, right?
Then, his mom calling me up like, "So you just gonna throw me under the bus like that?" I'd be like, "Nah, it wasn't like that." But no, I would be
Horrible.
a little bit. I'll be very much disappointed. Obviously, no parent wants the teacher to call them and be like, "Oh, your son got caught cheating. He's disqualified." It really sets the tone of what they do when they really go home. I mean, ultimately in this day and age, the children really aren't doing much studying when they go home. Everybody's child is kind of interlocked in their video games. And, you do have some parents that are set to encourage them to study, pick up a book, put the games down, healthy balance of both. That's more so what I'm aligned with. But then, you also have a different group of people who encourage their children not to really push for much, aim for more. It's just more so like they put that pressure on the teacher to kind of like just teach them and give them all the necessary tools, and then when they go home, that's where it stops. So it would definitely be disappointing to get that phone call, but at the same time, like you said, I wouldn't single her out in any way, but more so afterwards, I would probably just encourage him, like, listen, like, that's embarrassing. I need you to kind of shape up. Give yourself about 10, 15 minutes when you go home, pull out your class notes, go over it. Make sure what the teacher wrote down on the board is actually glued in your mind, because a lot of stuff that the teachers teach will be on the test today. So, yeah.
Basically communicating,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Like it falls down to communication and having them admit when they're wrong and apologizing to whoever they have to apologize, so they can have accountability and letting them know wrong is wrong, right is right, and also finding another way of how to eliminate from cheating, right? If we're struggling here, let's sit down. Maybe we can spend a little bit more time on this subject rather than that subject, or have flashcards, different like ideas of get them back on track so they can feel secure within themselves to take an exam or to battle whatever they're battling.
Right. So
and not corporal punishment, right? Because we don't do that here.
I guess now this leads me to my next question. So, would you keep with that disciplinary style if it was a reoccurrence? So, like, let's say, for instance, you got that first phone call and it was like, hey, Amber's cheating, and, we have to disqualify her, but now it's a different subject. And, I guess, let's just say lack of competence. She got caught again. And it's like, okay, so what do I do now? Like like these teachers are calling me, Amber's consistently cheating. Are you keeping to that same disciplinary style where it's like, okay, now it's all about effective communication more in depth? Or is it like gloves off? You know what? Boarding school.
No, I'm going to take off all my jewelry, put on those gloves,
give
one knockout.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, working with my dad.
She got a pink set,
No, honestly, what I probably would do is let her know now is becoming like a habit.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, there has to be a punishment in place, where I would probably take away her things that she most loves, like her phone or her tablet or her computer. Mm-hmm. And things that she mostly wants to do, I'll take away. And it just makes her understand, like, in order for you to get, I have to receive.
Right.
It's a give and take. You can't do something wrong and think you're going to get rewarded.
Absolutely.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so for me, I'm definitely on board with you with that, because I've done this with I have two sons, by the way. I've done this with both of them where, they weren't producing in school, and like that's literally the one thing as a non-custodial parent that you ask for your children, because, at the end of the day, we all work hard for them, and we try to give them the best life possible. And, when you're the non-custodial parent, all you can really ask for is like, hey, do good in school, show me good grades, and whatever you want, I got you. And when they don't give that to you in return, but yet have all the latest gadgets and gadgets out here, as my mom would say, it's like a slap in the face, because it's like, I'm out here working 10, 12-hour days to give you, the latest of whatever it is so you can keep up with the trends and have a good time with your friends. But while behind the scenes, you're not producing on your end. So, yeah, now time to take away the games, time to take away the cards, take away everything that's giving you this will to not focus on what's important. And that's something that I always try to teach my children. It's like, the motto is, what do good boys do? Listen. Why do good boys listen? Because, we have to be better than you. And, as, coming up where I had the guidelines for myself, my mom and my dad always kept telling me, pay attention in school, come home, to focus on this, turn the TV off, let's do your multiplication tables. Even with the...
it's a repetition, I think, sometimes.
Right. And even with the certain level amount of tutoring that was given to me, I still, was reluctant to take hold of all those benefits and, push it forward. So it's like, as you get older, you kind of really realize, like, okay, hey, those things worked when I was younger to get me back on track. So I have to definitely do that to you now. And you might hate me, but you're going to understand the benefits of it when you notice, dang, you know what? I haven't wasted time.
You don't think it's funny how when you're a child, and I think everybody could relate to this, that you think back and you're like, I would never be like my parent. I would never do this to my children. And then you sit there, you become an adult, and you become the parent, and you find yourself doing those things you said that you wasn't gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, like I find myself sometimes screaming and saying words my mom would tell me, like, you don't listen.
Right.
And I
always
sit
find
there, I'm
myself
like,
saying
oh my
things to
God,
them.
I'm my parent.
Right. I'd be like, the one thing my mom would say to me is, Troy, you're going to see yourself staying behind while all your friends keep moving forward. And I'll be like, they ain't going nowhere. I'm going to catch up. And now it's like, okay, TJ, you going to see yourself staying behind and all your friends going to move forward. And you just be like, mm-hmm.
No, my mom would always say to me, you know, when I was misbehaving, she'll be like, daughter you are, mother you shall be, and everything you do to me, your daughter will sure to give back, right? And sometimes, whoa, I gotta say, like, she wasn't wrong. I used to give a lot of attitude, and sometimes I hear my daughter going. The only thing is she's not as vocal as I was, so
Right.
thank God to that.
I'll
But
admit,
I see it.
her child is pretty vocal. Like sometimes,
No, not as much as I was.
Oh, okay. Because I just was never really
Like,
that vocal
I was
when it came to
vocal
my parents. You know, like it was always like you tell me one time, and I'm like, I don't want my Pokemon taken from me.
No, I was vocal, and I was kind of aggressive too, because I lived with siblings that were pretty much, we were all back to back, like we were in age not too far along. And when you live in a household with 4 other children, you know, it's like battling for everything, right? So that's the difference between me and my daughter. She didn't have much siblings. It's just been her. With me, it's just like I had to fight, so I kind of showed out a little bit.
Right.
Like my parents would kind of favor my brother, so I would kind of beat on him. My sister would try to rectify me or restrict me. I would try to bite her or fight her. I was spicy. So my daughter is nothing compared to me. Thank God.
I hear that. Now like TJ is kind of. He's definitely a chip off the old block. I'm seeing a lot of similarities between me and him when I was younger. So, yeah, like shout out to our kids. But
they something. Your children do make you a better person.
That's a fact.
Because you see the behavior they have, and then you kind of reflect on yourself, and it makes you alter that, right? And another thing about the misbehavior, when I see something that's reoccurring, and like I feel like sometimes it could be discouraging to a child when they're not passing their classes, or they're not getting along with their friends, and I kind of sit there and I think like, what can I do to kind of get that out of the way, right? So I kind of like, sometimes I bring my daughter to work, or I'll show her assignments I have to do. I'll literally make her read something I have to write. That way she understands that, yeah, it's stressful to do homework, but I'm doing homework too. I'm putting in the work too. Right. So if my job is to go to work every day and do these lengthy notes, then your job is to go to school and do these lengthy essays.
Absolutely.
That way we're both equivalent, right? And she doesn't feel like she's just the one doing.
Got you. So I guess that moves me into the next question. So like are you open to different methods of discipline? Like spoil the rod? Like
what's that?
Like you know how they say what is it? I forgot the terminology. Oh man, that sucks. But it's like it's basically just spoil the belt. Like you can't do too much talking all the time, because sometimes talking don't really resonate well with children. Because hold on, let me tell you right now, because children know how to.
You mean corporal punishment?
Nah, it ain't that bad. I'm
no,
not gonna lock you in your
listen.
room and put a lock on the door. You know what I'm saying? But what I would say is like like, do you believe in belts?
A little spanking?
Yeah, like do you believe in pow-pows? Like
yes.
Because me,
but
my first kid, he got the real bad end of it. And I'm not trying to say I was abusing him, not. And I feel like parents really misconstrue that. Like there's no such thing as abuse when it comes to when I'm trying to get your child to straighten up.
Well, it's the ACS people where it is.
Well, yeah,
when you leave marks. When you leave marks is when you become corporal.
That's the things I don't be liking when child services be trying to get in there and tell you like, oh, don't touch them, and it's just like
no, but everybody has that. I gotta stop you because I work with ACS, and everybody has that stigma. An ACS or caseworker is not gonna get involved if you're cordially spanking them below the butt, right? Or you're like hitting them with your hand. Now, if it's an excessive punishment where you literally are leaving marks on your children, yeah, they have to get involved.
No, and I get that part.
And and it needs to be in place, because there are some parents that don't know their limit.
Right. So for the parents who do know their limit, this is what I'm saying. Like oftentimes I feel like, there's nothing wrong with, if you tell a child, okay, that's an expensive couch, please stop jumping on it. But yet they keep trancing all over it. How many times am I supposed to tell you to stop putting your dirty shoes on this nice couch before, maybe I have to come upside your butt one time? I don't feel like that's wrong. I feel like oftentimes it's a little abrasive, but at the same time, it it's effective. Like it triggers something in them that say, okay, if I say stop jumping on that couch, it goes click. Oh yeah, because he's going to spank me. And then
I agree and I don't agree with you, because it's a fine line, right, of them listening. But then you have children like me that were, I don't care if he hits me, I'm still going to do it.
True.
Right? So they're going to continue to test your limits, and you're going to continue to get angered. And what happens when you're that angry and you no longer can control your anger because they have overdone it? Now you're gonna self-consciously hit them harder. Okay. And now, without knowing it, it might cause death. And I'm just going a little extreme, but there's been lots of cases like that, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's why it's very important to have conversations before you introduce spankings. Hold on one second. And the reason I say that is because once they get to their teenage age, you think they're going to allow that? No,
of course not.
They're not going to allow you to hit them.
Like,
what's going to end up happening is it's going to reverse it back to you.
It's like when you teach, it's like teaching them Spanish when they're young as opposed to trying to get them to learn it when they're older. They're not going to want to, or it won't stick like glue unlike when they were babies. I feel like if you bestow certain values into them when they're young, if it comes with a little bit more aggressive discipline, then fine. But of course, I'm never saying, beat your child till he's bruised, black eye, bloody in any way, form, shape, or fashion like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I do believe in, little smacks on the hands, little spanks on the bottom. I do believe in those things, and that's sometimes where, in relationships, I feel like people conflict because, you sometimes have the mom who's very soft, and those are the ones that children tend to get over on, as opposed to the dads that are more strict, and then the children know better. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes
that's how you view it. That's
of course. All this is my opinion. Like
let's just make that
right,
clear.
All this is
all
my
your
opinion, right?
Because
but what I will say is, like, when I do have enough, just stay out my way. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to be that parent that can't be with a child that sit on the train and that child can't sit down and for the sake of it. I've seen instances like this where a child be on the train and just running rampant up and down the train car, and I'll be sitting, and my kids are sitting there like.
But it's because the parent allowed that,
right? And then, but to see, the thing is, like, when you allow certain things to fly, this is what they think they can do all the time because people.
But that's the thing. You shouldn't allow. You shouldn't allow that.
People allow certain things to go because they be like, "Oh, I can't hit them. That's not nice." And it's like, it's not about being nice. It's about structuring them. It's about keeping them in line. Like, children need to be kept in line, and I feel like a lot of parents really don't understand that, and then that's why they have them. That's why they're so rowdy and they're so disobedient when you tell them to not do this. And they're like, no, and it's like, whoa. Like, we've both been outside seeing kids like that, and it's just like...
But I feel like that's because parents forget that kids is a constant repetition. So when you allow things to start reoccurring and you're not putting an end to it from the beginning, they're going to continue to test your patience. Yeah. But if you speak in a stern voice, especially to a child, like in the ages of 1 to 5.
Not in 2023. These new breed of children are different.
No.
I'm just going to agree with that. No. These new breed of children are so different.
Like, I hate when people say that.
It's true, though. Like, look at the 70s and the 80s. We were all so in line. You know what I'm saying?
You wasn't even born in the 70s.
I was born in the 80s. I said 70s
in the late 80s,
so
okay?
What? But I'm just saying, we were in line, and, there was no such thing as disrespecting your parents, because if the parent got disrespected, then grandmas got into it, and you even wanted to climb the tree like that. Or, if you disrespected your parents, then your older brother got into it, and once again, you didn't want to climb the tree like that, so you toed that line with moms, like, she tell you one thing, if she got to pull out the hanger, that's, that didn't work on you, grandma's or brother, pick one, and you just like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm sorry. And you got that work done. So I just feel like the children these days are so different because we're seeing a lot more babies having babies. A lot of children coming up with that same attitude of like, I didn't respect my mom's. Like, I was doing whatever I wanted to do. And then that same thing trickles down to their children where they don't even know how to be parents to them. And then those children are just doing exactly what they want to do.
And you brought up a good point there. Babies having babies.
Right.
So when you have that, and you have a young parent that is not here educating themselves or reading books about parenting, those children lack the discipline that you should enroll or instilled in them from the beginning.
Right.
So then those are the children that become rowdy and think they could do whatever they want because you didn't instill those values and those morals into your child. Right. But if you're someone that you pick up a book and you read and you realize that, you have to put structure from the very beginning, then it's different for them, right?
Right.
Because I remember my daughter as a baby, and I'm talking about like 5-6 months. You know, she would like do this thing where she would like to play on people's face, and for me, I don't really like when people play with my face, right? And even though she was a baby, I caught myself one day being very triggered by one of her slaps. You know, it was it was like one of those moments where you don't believe like she smacked you that hard. She's a baby at that, right? But I learned that instead of me like going pow pow or whatever, I just grabbed her hand and I literally would gently tell her, nice to mommy.
Nice.
And every time she would go up and she wanted to like play fight, because I think every child wants to play fight, right? But it's how you do it and how you kind of mold them to not be so aggressive. It's like a puppy. If you don't train a puppy's going to pee everywhere.
Yeah, that's why we get cats. Okay? Because you ain't got to train them nothing. They come out the womb.
I don't know about
you know what I'm saying? Cats, they clean themselves. You know, like a kid, you ain't got to worry about that. Like,
yeah, they're creepy. Anyways, not the topic here.
Right, I'm just saying, I'm a cat lover for all you know.
Pro dog now.
You can see why it works well, right? I guess, you know, such opposite sides is weird.
We're very different, but we have the things that are similar. Like, we value family.
That's a fact.
And we value being a good parent. So
now,
that works.
Okay, no doubt. So now, here's a question. Let's say, for instance, you needed a nanny. What questions would you ask a nanny to determine if they qualified to watch your child?
First of all, I want to know what's your experience in being a nanny, right? Okay. How would you discipline my child, right? What are the routine you would have for my child on a daily basis? Because I feel like if you have, and I'm talking about young children, because teenagers after a certain age, you know, they're kind of like in their own little world where it's like friends, they're all about their friends, and social media, of course, all monitored, but children at a young age, sometimes they don't speak well for themselves or express themselves well, and they're very active, so you need to keep them busy. So I remember my daughter at a young age, I would always have coloring books, paint, you know, I did crafting, like art crafts, you name it, bracelets. We did it all, because when I didn't really want to like be after her in the park, because I get anxiety from like big gatherings. Right. So what I would do is I would have things at home that we can do that were fun, and you know, make time go by. Like, have you ever done a bracelet?
Nah.
With the little beads?
No.
Okay, it takes hours.
Yeah. Shout out to being a boy's dad. You know?
No, but honestly, I don't, and I think that's probably why God didn't give me a boy.
Yeah, no, I'm just being honest. Like, the worst thing I've had to deal with TJ was just making sure he kept track of his belt. Like, dude never can keep track of his belt. Like, every time I see him, he's just like, and I'm like, where's your belt, man? I don't know. And it's just like, son, you take the belt off, you put it down. You put it someplace where you can find it. Or just leave it with the pants. I see you still wearing the same pants from 2-3 days ago. Why you not got the belt on it?
Amber did the same thing,
like,
though.
It's so annoying. Like,
she never had a belt.
How does the belt separate from the pants? Like, dude, like, were you really in the rush to take a doo-doo? And then it was just like, oh, God, gotta get this thing. Oh, you know, I'll say, and it just drop. That's just me. I'm funny. But no.
You tell yourself you're funny? Nah. I hear that.
So you said experience. How would they discipline your child, and routine?
Yeah, what is the routine they would have in place for them? Gotcha. Because I also want a nanny, like if I'm going to have a nanny, that kind of like those things I would do. Like, example, take them to the zoo. Teach them new things. I'm not saying go teach them a whole new language, but at least, you know, the colors, the shapes, stuff that are educational but could be fun. Gotcha. And obviously, me as a parent, I would have those gadgets for her to do, right? But it has to be a set schedule, so I know that every hour there's something to do, and it's just not like we just lingering having the child watch TV.
Right. So as far as experience, how many nanny jobs does this person need to have and have had in order to be qualified to watch your child? Like, because I mean, if this is the first time, then clearly it's not enough experience. But if it's like a third job, are you not concerned, like, why those previous jobs didn't work out?
I mean, I can't say that it didn't work out.
I mean, it's the reason
sometimes
why she's looking to babysit a new kid.
Yeah, like, but that's being kind of like biased, because imagine you leaving a job because you want more money. You're gonna hold that to her because she wants more money?
I guess. I mean, but it's...
I know, I left many jobs because I want more money, not because I wasn't good at my job.
Like, I'm be at work for a few hours and it's just like, I need you to watch this kid for me. Like, how much are you really asking for? Like, I'll give you $200. That's what I think that's pretty good for an evening. I mean, maybe I might have the wrong.
Wait, how much for an hour?
No, I've been giving like $200 for a couple hours.
$200.
Yeah, for a couple hours. Like, I mean, like, yo, like, you're not
that's
doing
enough. That's a lot.
Oh, that's a lot. So I'm actually putting a little bit more on the price. Like,
$200 for an hour.
That's why she keep jumping.
Can you be my nanny? Can I be your nanny?
Like, that's what I'm saying. They're not paying nothing. So I'm just like, oh God. I'm like, listen.
Maybe I will say $100 for 2 hours. So $50 an hour.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because in reality, I'm not making $200 an hour to be giving her. I'm making what, $30 an hour? How can I be paying her more than that?
God damn. You know what I'm saying?
But
in my opinion, if so first when it comes to me, the questions I would probably do first. First things first, I'm doing background check. Like I need to know.
That's the definite.
I'm trying to see if you've been to prison. Like, what's the reason you looking for a new job? Because in my mind, if you've been to prison, you probably did something stupid. Like,
and references.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bring up those things because that's not cool. But I'm just saying, like, you need references. I need to know if you were actually good to people's children. Like I just need to know. Like you said, it's about the experience, but at the same time, your background also has to
a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it has to do. Definitely.
I think more. I forgot that. I definitely would include that in my top one.
So you want me to add the background check?
Yes, you have to add the background.
Just know when you come to babysitting her kids, you can come right off the street.
You can be a whole predator.
We trust you. Yes, we trust you. There's applesauce in the fridge. Just make sure she uses a spoon.
Horrible. No, but hey, even me working with my job that I'm working currently, I was background checked, right? Mm-hmm. So why would I not do that to her?
Right.
Especially because she's working with children that are not hers.
Absolutely.
And you don't know if she's a pedophile. No offense, but things happen all the time. Mm-hmm. Especially nowadays with all this thing with sex trafficking. Yeah. It's a scary world.
It's very scary because that's why I was listening to you saying, you had like, claustrophobic being in in groups where, you have that concern. Like, this is why I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff at home because, like, children have so much fun and, you're just so caught up in the fact that they're having fun. So you think that because they're in an environment with other children having fun, that nothing can go wrong. And then just like that, it was like me one time when I went to Sesame Place. And, my mom will tell you about that. Like I was having so much fun that I just kind of drifted off, like I was just like, yeah, I'm dipping in the water. I'm having fun. Badass. Splash. And then all of a sudden, separated. And now I'm in some corner, freezing, turning purple. And, thank God, my mom, put good values in me to where I knew how to look for authority figures. I just knew how to, thank God for knowing how to read, at 6 years old. I'm just saying. So when I was able to do that, I was able to get myself to a booth and then, they shouted out Jewel Rogers on the loudspeaker and then she was able to come find me in the security booth. So it's little things like that, which is very important why I think, with children, we should also be trying to encourage them to read more when they're younger, because Lord knows the reading thing is so hard for them at this time. It's like, in this day and age, children are just getting by. And it's not okay, when they're like...
But what that means is it all comes from the parent.
It does.
So
and also,
if you as a parent not taking time to put that effort in your children, mm-hmm. Shame on you. It's not a reflection on only the child.
True. That's true.
Your child reflects you.
Right. So like with TJ, I always be like, hey, here's your library card. Let's go to the library and pick up some books. My mom, his grandma even encourages him to do that too. Most recently, he went to the library, picked out some books, and they were like comic books. And I was just like, when I touched base with him after work, I was like, so did you go to the library, pick up some books? He was like, yeah. I was like, what'd you get? Naruto? And I was like, Naruto? And he's like, yeah, I like that. And I was like, TJ, the purpose of going to the library is to, get some more challenging books, not read the books of a series you done seen a million times. Like you've already seen it, so reading it is not going to give you a different outcome, So
let me ask you a question. You said he got multiple books?
Yeah. Okay,
so maybe instead of saying don't pick out one you like, always pick out what you like and one that's going to help you read.
Right. So
it's a balance.
Absolutely. And the fact
you want to encourage them.
Right. And the fact is, like, I know he picked out the things he liked because he know he was going to read them, but that's the whole reason why I was encouraging him that he needs to go and actually pick out more challenging books. Like, you're at an age right now where you need to start
opening,
encouraging more vocabulary into your mind. Like being able to actually, see a big word and not have to go, example. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't be like that all the time. Like, redundant. Yeah, I shouldn't have to be applauding you for getting that right, because I know you know how to sound things out. But at the same time, if you were to read books with if you were to read more books with like 7 to 8 letter words in them, dude, your vocabulary and just your overall mental will just like you'd be like, oh man, like so I feel so good to have known that word in 7th grade. When we were reading, this document, and none of the other classmates knew that word, but I was able to just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I feel like I get it. I feel like we encourage our children as much as we can, as you should, right? But I also feel like you also allow them to be a little bit of themselves. It's a little balance, right? Because you don't want to take away the fun from reading, because then you don't want to read.
Right.
So you have to let them go on their own. I think we should move on to the next question. So
yes.
What's next?
So final question. Let's say you and I disagreed on my course of action towards discipline. How would we reach a common consensus?
Well, to me, depending on the situation, I would say we should talk about it in person. I mean, not in person, in private, so that we can strategize of how we should go forward in communicating with the child, because we want to be on the same page. We want to show that we're a team and that we're sure of our decisions, so that they understand that there is no division between us. Because I had that done.
Yeah, same.
Kids are devious and they're smart.
Right. It's like, so you said I can go to the store? Didn't I just tell you couldn't go to the store?
But Daddy said.
Right. Like, dang, like, just really put us together. Like, why she can't go to the store? Because she was cheating twice. Nah, I just messed it. You know what I'm saying? But no, I just definitely agree. Like, I think we should definitely learn from, occurrences that happen where, it looks like, we're arguing, but still trying to reach the same goal. I would definitely try to learn from that experience.
And we also have to be willing to compromise, right? Because sometimes you might want to handle it a different way than I might. And depending on the severity, I'll let you take lead, and you one day will have to let me take lead. But we definitely will have discussions so we can see who we feel has the better kind of forfeit. Of course you would say that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like what? Come here, girl. Nah, I just messing.
I am the
boss. Right. So, I hope you enjoyed the show for today. It was very light topic, but as we progress, the topics will get a little bit more, presentable and
we hope you enjoyed
to you. So if you have any ideas for topics that you would love to hear our opinion on, you can leave a comment down below. You can also find both of us on Instagram. Mine's is Peace Be With You, a 0 on the U, _. So Peace Be With You _ And
mine is Stephany 1989. I think we'll put it down below so that you can find us faster. Right. And also don't forget to hit the like button.
Yes. And,
show some love.
Also hit the subscribe, so that way you can keep up with the latest. But we'll also be promoting it, so you'll always be able to find it.
We're gonna try to have spicy topics. Maybe next time will be.
All right. Stay tuned.